Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of In the Mix. I am your host, Matthew Eric White. Forgive me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold right now, but I wanted to introduce this interview with a man I've been lucky enough to call a friend and a brother for the past 10 years. I never had a brother. I had an older sister. She beat the hell out of me, so don't worry about it. But this man has been arguably the most impactful person in my life, not just this career. His name is James Achille. You can catch him on 911, SWAT, The Rookie. He's done Lifetime films. He's got independent projects all available for streaming. I'll make sure to link as many of those things as I can. James and I have a wonderful conversation about his journey in this acting process, as well as his journey with faith and the introduction of his new business, Achilles Fitness, where he focuses on developing the foundation for youth athletes. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Let's get to it. James, thank you so much for being here, baby.
Man, thank you for the intro, man. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Excited what you got going on.
We are here today in your living room
Mm.
up in Los Angeles, where you are still working as an actor and killing it with Achilles Fitness. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk about how you got here, because you are not a West Coaster at heart. You're an East Coast man.
That is right. That is right. We are originally from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Good old Erie, PA. Shout out 814. Yeah, man, it's crazy thinking I've almost been here for a decade now. Come February.
Born and raised on the East Coast. And so it's not just you, though. You're not an only child. You've got brothers and sisters. How many?
Yeah, I have an older sister who actually just had her second baby. Easton, what's up, baby? Just a couple days ago. And then
Really?
yeah, literally 2 days ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You saved that for this. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then I have a younger brother as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Actors as well?
No, my sister's a teacher, kindergarten teacher. And then my brother, he is a salesman he sells windows. He's crushing.
That's amazing. So, Erie, Pennsylvania, how do you end up in Hollywood, California? Because you didn't just come to Cali, right? You started in New York?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Man, what a journey. When I was young, like I never in a million years would be like, oh yeah, I'd be living in Hollywood one day. I went to college in Ohio and then I lived in New York for total probably a little over a couple years. And then, yeah, I made it out here.
But you didn't go to school for acting, did you?
No, I originally went to school for exercise science with a concentration in strength and conditioning.
Okay. So was the original plan when you were growing up to be in the world of sports?
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
That was my whole world was an athlete and being in sports growing up. My ultimate dream was to play for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, they could use you right now. That'd be great.
They probably could. That was my ultimate dream. And then
What position?
I was a wide receiver and then defensive back.
Okay.
And man, I miss it so much. I miss it so much. But that was literally it. That's all I wanted to do was just play football.
Then how did acting come about? When did you find that?
Yeah, so I originally was going to college, University of Akron, to play football and
okay.
to walk onto the football team. And a week prior to my tryout with a couple coaches were coming down to my hometown one of my high school coaches had a connection that was going to come down and give me a look. And a week before I was in a baseball tournament and I dislocated my pelvis. I tore my obliques and so I couldn't walk.
Oh my
God. So that shattered my athletic career. However, I was planning on just, okay, I'm not going to play my freshman year and then I'll still
Recover
have 4
and maybe
years.
get back.
Yeah, eligibility. And as I was recovering, me just being me, I tried to come back a little too quick. And I was feeling good and I just started training and I was really starting to feel good again. And then I tore my opposite oblique, or I'm sorry, I tore my opposite groin, compensating for probably the hip that was not fully back yet. To be honest, I was like, when I got injured and football was done and sports were done, I was thinking of like, oh, maybe I try to like get into track, and because I pole vaulted in high school, and uh
Wait, no, I wasn't laughing at pole vaulting. I'm just laughing that you tore all of your obliques, you tore your groin. They're like, you are done in athletics, and you go for sure. But pole vaulting is like,
I
you know,
think I
like
could jump over.
maybe I could do that. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, yeah. I thought really hard about that. I started training again in my body. I was just like, there's no way. And so, anyways, I was I was pretty low, honestly, for a while. Like I was in it. I was deep into some just
It's very common when,
yeah.
yeah, your bot. Not only is you're mentally taking a hit because you're like, I'm losing out on my dreams of this or that, but your body physically is like, you don't get to move the way you used to either.
Yeah. It was it was hard,
Mhm.
and I didn't know how to deal with it. So, and then I'm in college, so then you just, I put on some weight, and my knees were just jacked. But so to get into like acting and modeling and all that stuff, my mom calls me randomly, like out of the blue. I
Okay.
think I was a junior at this time, or yeah, I think I was a junior. And she's like, "Hey, there's two talent scouts that are coming to Erie for anybody interested in modeling, acting, theater. If you're interested, you should come home and go to it and see what happens." And I was like, "Ain't no way I'm gonna be acting and modeling. I've never done any of that. I'm
Yeah.
not interested in that." She's like, "Okay." Couple weeks go by. She calls me again and she says the same thing. She's like, "Hey, so next week these talent scouts are gonna come out and like she's like, what harm would it be to just go and see what they say?"
Sure.
And then I was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right. The worst they're gonna tell me is no." So I was like, "All right." So I drive home and that weekend, whenever they had it, and we go, and I actually remember I was late to, there was two meetings, and I was
Okay.
late to the first one, so I couldn't go. So I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe this isn't for me. Like maybe I blew it." And so then we wait around and we go to the second one, and it was, yeah, just these two guys that were just coming to see, just scout talent. They were talent scouts. That's
They
what they
were
were.
not agents or anything, just like
Just, yeah, just scouting talent
interesting,
to invite them to
like a
the
showcase.
showcase.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I see what you mean.
So they like lined us up like we are cattle. And we're like, "All right, what do you," we walk up to this table and they're like, "What are you interested in? What are you interested in? Acting, theater, blah blah blah." And there's two guys. There's one guy, if they like you, they give you a card from like a deck.
Okay.
And that means stick around, go sit down. If they don't give you a card, they're like, "All right, see you later." And I'm in this line, dude. This dude's giving no cards.
Oh
I'm like,
man,
other dude giving all the cards. I'm like, dang it, I got in the wrong line.
this is the
And my family's out in the, like, my whole family shows up too. Like that's just, man, my family, praise God. Like
that's
they're
awesome.
just amazing. Like biggest supporters ever. They're all just like waiting for me in the other room, and I'm like, "Dang, I'm not getting the card." I have to like walk out.
Like guys, you keep your expectations low on this one.
Big time. And so, but I walk up and uh he's like, "What are you interested in?" And I was like, "Modeling," because again, I've never acted before.
Sure.
And he's like, I was like, "Modeling," and he's just like looks me up and down because I'm like 5'9", 5'10". I'm 5'10", whatever. And he's like, it just looks at me, and I just like am like looking like probably so awkward. And he's like, "All right," gives me a card. I'm like, "Oh shoot, I made it." And so I go sit
I'm
down.
in.
Yeah, we did it. So I go sit down, and long story long, that gave you the opportunity to go to this showcase in Columbus, Ohio, where now like 40 to 50 agents from
Sure.
around the whole United States were going to be there. And it's a 3-day event. And
Yeah, and for those who don't know, like what showcases kind of operate, they kind of you go in with performances preset. So you go on stage and do scenes or commercials or runway walks for these 40 or so agents, and then at the end they may ask to meet with you, right? To of possibility of signing you.
exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. I was gonna go, but literally just to walk the runway and do the modeling thing. Because again, I was like, I'm not an actor.
Right.
And And my mom and my dad were kind of like the same thing. They're like, dude, if you're gonna go, like, why not just do the monologue? Again, the worst they're gonna say is no. And I was like, yeah, all right.
Fair
I,
point.
yeah, exactly. So, and you got to pay for this thing too.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm like,
not.
all right, let me
It is a pay to play kind of thing.
exactly. Um,
They're like, you're invited. It'll be $6,000.
yeah. No, it wasn't like that,
Not
but
that crazy, but
uh, yeah, no, it's yeah, you got to pay. Yeah, so I did. From Sandlot when Benny, the day before he's about to jump over the fence to get the
mm-hmm.
ball, he's sitting and praying, and then Babe Ruth comes out of the closet, and he's like, "Listen, kid." And I wish I had it I wish I had the monologue in my back pocket. I don't got it, but
Legends never die.
yeah,
Legends never die.
yeah. And so that was the monologue I did, and uh, so if you're interested in doing a monologue, you do it just for a couple casting directors
Oh, okay.
that are there, um, and if you, it's like an audition, literally, where if they like you, then they put you on a list that you'll do it in front of everybody.
So
And
they gotta make sure you don't suck.
exactly. So I did it in front of these casting directors, and like the one thing that I remember, I don't know where I heard this from, was when you do a monologue, like do it to somebody. Like look at somebody's eyes and do it instead of like, you have no direction. And so the guy, I remember doing it to the guy, and I was like, yeah, like you blah 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 blah. And again, I wish I had it in my back pocket, but
He's just sitting there like,
yeah, super fired up. Like I'm gonna go jump over this
yeah.
fence. But I felt great. And then it later that day they put up a sheet that you had to go back to that room, and they had a sheet of everybody's names that they were interested in
Okay.
to do in front of everybody. So I'm like nervous. I'm like, oh my God, is my name gonna be on the list? And it was. And I was like, that's right. No, I wasn't. I was like very excited. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And so yeah, so you do like you walk the runway, then you do like a whole like speed dating thing with all of the
Yep.
agents, and like 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Who are you? What do you blah blah blah? And
The most ineffective way
my God.
to
Yeah.
choose your representation,
Yeah.
but when you're starting, you're like, this is
It
Hollywood.
was so cool.
It's so cool.
It was so cool. And so then the now we're doing the monologues on stage. And yeah, there was, like you said, they had scenes for commercials where they would give us commercials, and we would like do that kind of stuff. And but we get to the monologue, and dude, I was ready to crush this thing. I was so pumped. That was the first time I felt like a little connection to sports. I had those like butterflies in my stomach of
Mhm.
like I'm about to get in front of like over 1,000 people right now, and I'm like, the lights are on, the lights are bright, and I'm about to step onto this field and buckle in my chin strap.
The best.
Oh man, it was awesome. And so I get up on stage, and they're like, you had a time limit too. If you go over your time limit, you are like they're gonna shut your mic off, and you gotta go. So
Oh,
go over your time limit. I can't
it's
remember.
terrifying.
Yeah, and so I go in the casting director that I did it to the first time was in the front row.
Okay.
And so I locked in on him again. And I'm doing this. I'm like, yeah, Babe Ruth. And, and then I felt great. And then I'm walking down the stairs, and then I look over at him, and he just gives me one of them. And dude,
Yes.
from there, I was like,
A
I love
thumbs up
acting.
and a nod is all you need.
That's when I fell in love with acting. I was like, this is fun. I think I could do this. And so then at the end of at the end of the weekend, all the agents go up on stage, and we had numbers. My number's 202, and they just call out your number if they're, like you were saying, at the end they'll meet with you if they're interested in talking about representation. And man, praise God, dude, I had like it was crazy, man. I had like
A lot.
almost 10
Yeah.
agents, which I wasn't expecting. Like I was, if I got one, I was gonna be like, but man, it was insane. I was so blown away, and that's when I was like, I don't know, maybe maybe I could do this thing. And then afterwards,
Do you
that's when
sign with any of those agents?
I did. Uh, Not right away. I met with them all, and then there was a few out in LA, Atlanta,
Hmm.
New York, like all
The
over
big three, yeah.
Chicago. Yeah. And the one that I ended up going with invited me to New York one weekend
Right.
for a photo shoot, and then they invited me again. That was my first time ever going to New York too. Me and my sister, she came with me, which that was just like,
Unbelievable. You're going to New York because of your signing with an agent to get into this entertainment world.
man, we were blasting. In New
Yeah.
York,
Yeah.
concrete
It's, it's amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
You have to. It's
dude,
like a rite of passage.
absolutely. Like Jay-Z, Alicia Keys. That's literally I was listening. We were listening to that the whole time, and like I will never forget walking once we went from New Jersey to New York, and I'll never forget coming out of the subway and walking up from the subway and seeing the skyscrapers for the first time. I was like, whoa.
Erie doesn't have a lot of skyscrapers.
No, it is not. It was wild. And yeah, the second time I was there, the one of the agents, they offered me a 3-year contract. And
Whoa.
I was still in college, and I was like, dude, do I drop out? Like, but then I was like, no, like I want to finish my degree just in case. And now, thank God I did.
Absolutely.
And so I would go to college for the school year, like September through May. And then in the summers, I'd go right to New York for the summer. I'd live in the summer and then back to college and then back to New York, back to college. And then once I graduated, I moved to New York for what I thought was for good. And I was there for a little over a year.
Were you living in the city?
I lived in Brooklyn, and then I lived in Queens.
Okay.
I loved Queens, was awesome. Um,
I was gonna say, so what prompts? Because the LA New York lifestyles, they're two very different things. And not just in way of living, but also for the industry itself, the way auditions and we should mention and point out that this is pre self-tape era. So everything's in person for you.
mhm.
So getting to auditions in New York in the city is probably a little different than having to drive around with headshots in your car like in LA is. So what prompts, number one, if your agency's in New York, for you to jump to the West Coast?
Man, that was, I want to say it was a difficult decision, but it was kind of easy. I wasn't making any money. I was working at a gym because literally to save money on a gym membership, so I didn't have to pay for a gym membership,
Ah,
so I could work out. And so I worked at a gym. I was working on the Upper West Side, living in Brooklyn, and then living in Queens. So like my commute to work was an hour
all
at
through
best,
Subway?
all subway, and then probably like 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes of walking. And then you're working for 8 hours, and then I work out, and then it's an hour and 15 minutes back.
There's
Like
no layers. You're not, there's no life. It's work and work.
zero. Bro, I always remember when
Are
I
you
was,
partying at all in New York?
no man, I couldn't. One,
Couldn't afford it.
I couldn't afford it. And two, all of my friends who worked at Equinox, they all lived in like Harlem, Washington Heights. So they're coming down. And so it would be I hung out with them, I think, a couple times, and it took me like an hour and 45 minutes to get there.
Oh my God.
And so and I was working so much to not even
Make any money.
make any money that like I didn't have anything, not even energy to like left to do anything. I remember sitting down on my lunch break at work, and I remember this like very vividly. I was sitting by the window, I was eating my Tupperware meal because God knows I couldn't afford to buy lunch, and I'm eating, and I just remember like saying to myself, I can't do this anymore. And I'm not that person to be like I can't do something.
No, but
And so once I started to like really like realize that and like kind of like feed into that, I was like, okay, alert, alert, alert. And I was like, why not just, what about LA? I had a friend that just moved there from college that I knew out there. I was like, it's got to be better than here.
Yeah. Anything's got to
Can't
be
be
better.
worse.
Yeah. And at least you're still chasing the dream just differently.
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, I remember texting my friend and saying, "Do you like living out there?" And he was like, "Oh, I love it." And literally that day, I was like, "I'm coming." But the original plan was just to go out there for pilot season.
Right.
So I
And at that time, pilot season was what, January to March or
March,
April kind of
April,
thing.
yeah,
And I mean, it doesn't really exist anymore, but pilot season for the actor world was every year the networks would have a giant list of new pilots for TV shows that they would be creating. And for new unknown actors, those TV shows were kind of the biggest opportunity to be a nobody and still be in the room for stuff and get a little acknowledgement. Doesn't exist anymore really because of streaming services. And honestly, there's more shows now than ever where new people are getting opportunities to blow up. But back then, those 4 months, like everyone would move to LA for those 4 months and then go back to wherever they came from.
yeah,
But so your original plan was to do that,
yeah.
was to still live in New York. And
So I still have my place in New York, like as like I was subletting it, but like as like a just in case I
yep.
come back, and like I still had my employment like with Equinox. So again, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And dude, yeah, I remember calling my dad and just telling him, yeah, I like broke down. I was like, I can't do it. I can't, like, I'm done. And then I think it might have been that night or that I had that revelation at work where I was like, let's try LA.
What would you say to somebody who came out now to follow that acting dream? The landscape's so different.
So different, man. Man, that's such a good question because even like for me and you, like we can't even really compare it because it's night and day.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, the number one thing I would say to anybody getting into the entertainment industry is do not put all your eggs into this basket. Uh, this is not your identity. Like don't put your identity into this basket because I did that and I know a lot of people who've done that and you are going to face so much rejection and there is nobody that knows that more than the person sitting across from me right now who hosts this podcast. And I say that to be not what's the word? Not I'm not talking down.
No, I
I'm just
totally,
saying
I
that
totally
as
understand.
in
No.
like if there's anybody that knows the deeps and the highs of this industry, it's you. And like I always tell you, like, man, like you inspire the crap out of me. The fact that
Stop.
you keep going and like you don't stop. And there's always, I mean, look at what you're doing now. Like you've been here for almost a decade too. And right?
Yeah. Yeah. We met that first year. We both came out here. Yeah.
And it's like, man, like you just it hurts. Like, you know, things hurt,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, but like what do? You just man, you just keep getting up, you just keep going, you just keep moving, and you're just always like looking for ways to grow and ways to do things differently, but always like perfecting your craft. And man, it's so inspiring. And so like having people like you in my life is just so like I admire you.
But I really appreciate that first. But what I was going to say is it's because of you. I've known you. I met you when I was 15.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
14 or 15. And it was my first year in LA. And you had those 2, 3 years of New York under your belt. So you were already a guiding light for me in that sense. And it's a lot easier to keep going when I have you guys and when we have each other in our corners. And that is what I would say is probably the most important thing for anyone moving anywhere for this career, especially. I don't know much about others, but for this one, it's like, yeah, like you said, it's going to beat the hell out of you. And it's also going to give you the highest highs ever. It's about finding the middle ground between both of those things. And you do that by surrounding yourself with the right people,
Yeah.
which is hard to find. It takes work.
My acting coach, Sal Romeo, most influential coach of my person in my life ever.
God bless his soul.
Yeah, rest in power. He his words like man, just they just ring in my head of he he saw me at my highs, saw me at my lows, and in that in between, like when I'd start to get frustrated and irritated with the business, the business, he called me out on it in a loving, gentle way. He's like, whenever something was wrong, he knew, and we would have meetings and we would talk, and he was like, "How you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm all right." And he'd be like, "How you doing?" And oh my,
Yeah.
and but then he would always say, man, he would always say, don't let your frustration for the business influence your love for the craft and why I got into it. Like I loved the craft of acting and entertainment and storytelling and all those things. But the business side of it, which I can't control any of it for the most part.
Yeah.
And uh he would always just say, he's like, don't let the business take away your love for the craft. And man, so I would say that also to actors, especially getting into it, don't let the business influence the craft
Yeah.
because it will.
Well, so how do you feel that your priorities in your life now may have changed versus when you felt your identity was a little more defined by your work?
Yeah. Man, that started in COVID.
Right.
Once COVID happens, industry shuts down, the world shuts down, and we're quarantined. And for the first few months of quarantine, I was out here all by myself.
Really?
Yeah, like all my roommates left. I had one roommate that stayed for just like a little bit, and then so I was by myself for a while, and it was the best thing that could happen to me.
Oh, you think?
Yeah,
Really?
absolutely, because it forced me to sit with me.
Ah,
And I would say, I'm sure, I always hear people say things similar with COVID specifically, of like, oh yeah, like I had to sit with myself and understand who I am and all this and that. And I was that person. Like I was always just a striver. I'm gonna strive, and I'm not gonna let anything hold me back. Nothing is gonna hold me back. If I feel something, it doesn't matter. Just keep going. Keep taking steps forward. Keep stacking one brick at a time. And you can only do that for so long.
right.
And at some point, the wall's gonna come falling down because you didn't take the time to like really set the found. You could build the foundation, but you got to set the foundation.
Yeah.
And man, that's what happened. Like COVID, like I had to sit with myself, and then I want a family. I want to be a husband. I want to be a father, and that really didn't click until COVID. Like I've been on a couple TV shows, which is cool, but that's not what I want.
It's not the legacy.
That's absolutely. And so then I was like, dang, okay. At that time, I was not dating intentionally. When I first got here, I did get distracted in a relationship, and my fault, like nobody's fault but myself. But I got distracted, and then I was like, I'm not doing that again. So like I put tunnel vision on, and like nothing was. I'm just going,
Yeah.
and uh,
Which it's very common, happens a lot.
I would say anybody who wants to be the best at something, you do at to a degree have to do that.
Mhm.
And if you don't want to be the best, that's fine. That's totally fine.
There are
But
plenty of things I don't care about being the best at.
exactly. And like we have this conversation all the time. Like for me, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Like I don't want to do something to just be mediocre.
Right.
Like if I do something, I'm going 10 toes down, and I'm going to give it the best I possibly can to be the best that I can. And so anyways, COVID, then I started thinking about like, yeah, I want a family. And so then my mentality started to shift. Acting is cool, but it's not paying the bills right now. I need to figure out like my life. And I always give this analogy of, if you want to make it as an actor, I would say more so when you and I came here first, and then correct me if you think I might be
No,
wrong,
please,
but
yeah.
it's like if you're cooking on the stove, right? You got four burners.
Mm-hmm.
You got your front burners, your back burners. If you want to be an actor, like that pot is the big pot on the front burner that constantly needs attention, constantly needs stirred, constantly needs new seasonings. You need to taste it, adjust. Like that's it. And then your life, that's just on simmer in the back.
Yeah.
You come to it, you stir it every now and then. You don't really got to pay attention to it. And and then I was like,
Dangerous.
it's dangerous. And your life starts to fall behind and you start to become this. And uh I literally like had that mental analogy, like that mental picture, and I was like, that's done. That stops today. And so like I put the acting on the back burner, put it down to simmer a little bit, started to, well, maybe not. Maybe not. I thought I did,
Right.
but I started to tend to life a little bit more. And this is also like in this transition, this is like when my faith started to like really start to build. And
You grew up Catholic?
I grew up Catholic. Yep, grew up went to like CCD, was confirmed, all of that. And then once my brother was confirmed, my younger brother, like my family, like we stopped going to church.
Sure.
We 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 were Catholic, but we didn't practice.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really do that. It was more of like, this is what we're supposed to do. So
Tradition.
yeah, let's just do it. And so then yeah, we didn't go to church, but like I always still prayed, but I never knew like who I was praying to.
Sure.
I never had that relationship, and but I always just felt like that longing to do it. And uh and then I actually, speaking of injuries, I had, so I'm kind of cutting all over the place right
No
now,
worries.
but um I had a pretty significant knee injury, and one morning, to where like I woke up one morning and I thought I blew out my entire knee the night before, and my from my thigh down to my ankle was one size because it was so swollen, and I couldn't I couldn't bend my knee. I couldn't put any weight on my foot at all, and I couldn't walk at all. So I hobbled down the stairs. I'm back home in Pennsylvania at the time, and I'm laying on the couch, and uh I'm icing my knee, and one of my cousins comes over to drop something off, and he sees me on the couch, and he was a Christian, and he sees me on the couch, and he's like, "What happened?" And I was like, I can't walk, can't put pressure on it, can't bend my knee, blah blah blah. And from what I knew, like I had thought I tore my ACL,
Yeah.
FCL, like I thought it was gone. And um he's about to walk out, and then he turns around, he's like, "Do you mind if I pray? Can I pray over it?" And I was like, "Sure." Like,
And
what?
at this point, you have no real relationship with faith.
Not really. I get, other than praying. So he sits down, he kneels down, he places his hands on my knee, and he starts to pray over my knee out loud. And he's just praying like, "Lord, like heal James's knee, blah blah blah. Like through your stripes we are healed, and in Jesus' name." This beautiful prayer. As he's praying, like my whole body is heating up. I was sweating from my head all the way down to my toes. And I'm like, what is happening in my body right now? So he prays, and then at the end of the prayer, he's in Jesus' name, amen. And then I'll never forget this, man. He like looks up, and he just like gives me like a little smirk. He's like, "Stand up." And I'm like, okay. Dude, I stand up. I kid you not. I squatted. I jumped up into the air. I ran in place, high knees, no pain, swelling gone, everything. I started crying. I was bawling my eyes out. And again, now I'm like sweating even more. And he's just like smiling. My dad was there. He witnessed the entire thing. And and then I was like, "Dude, I am sweating right now." And he's like, "That's the Holy Spirit." And
Wow.
I I was like, And then from that day on, I was like, okay, you have my attention, and let's explore this and see what this is all about.
Is there, because let's not sugarcoat it, there is a stigma around the faith, especially in this industry, especially in this town. Is there a fear of judgment? Is there a fear of acknowledging that? Is there a fear of telling people how much it's impacted your life now and how important it is to you?
Yeah. Uh, at first, yeah, I did fear that. Um, but the further I got into my faith and the further I got into the word, and like, man, like, the Bible says it all over, like, fear no man. Fear, and I don't mean, I'm not saying that to be arrogant.
No.
Like, fear no man, fear no woman. Like, there's nothing of this world that we should fear. And if we just fear God, then there's nothing of this world that can harm you. And once I started to like believe that, it's changed everything. Of that is, that's this world like wants us to fear so much. And the society, like, they want us to fear so much, which causes division and deceit and death. Um and that's, man, that's the enemy at its finest. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, like now, no, I don't fear the judgment. And I say that because it doesn't matter to me anymore, because my identity is not wrapped in that anymore. When my identity was still wrapped in it, yes, I was a people pleaser,
Yeah. You can't let
whatever,
anything
anything.
ruin that.
Absolutely. And I would be a chameleon. I would just kind of go with
Whatever
whatever
group
any
you're with that day.
exactly. And but now, if I have an opportunity to share my faith or share my testimony, or because I know what it did for me, man. And dude, it set me free. Like, there's nothing here that I need to fear because it's all on the cross. And man, being able to live from that place, like, you're gonna go through challenges, you're gonna go through
Sure.
suffering, you're gonna go through tribulation, but like, it's just gonna feel a little bit different than it did before.
That path has now led you to opening Achilles Fitness, through Achilles Teamed all the way into Achilles Fitness. Well, now your job is building that foundation you've been setting for yourself, now for other people through athletics. What has that experience brought to you, and how have your priorities shifted since opening this company?
Man, God is so good. Uh, I always heard everybody's always heard the quote, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Sure.
Every time I heard that quote, man, I'd be like,
Shut up.
you're lying.
Yeah, it's easy when you're making millions.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But man, I haven't worked a day in my life. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I have
Since
I haven't worked a day since I started Achilles Fitness and Coach Achilles. And man, like, I am so blessed. I literally get to play with athletes for work, and I get paid to do it. I would do it for free, but like, the fact that I get to make a living doing something that I love and that I'm so passionate about,
making other people better.
man, it's I'm so blessed, man. And so it's provided me like optimism for everybody, of like, you can find something that you love to do. Like, there's going to be something in your life. You just keep going, man. Just don't give up. Like, there's going to be something that's going to come along, and you are just going to feel so much fire. Like, I love asking people, like, what sets you on fire?
Yeah.
And you love that
I
question.
love that question.
And
I'm like, a couple STDs, but other than that, I can't think of anything.
that's that's hilarious. And yeah, and I forget what the second part of that question was.
Well, I'm curious for people out there who are listening now and curious about what you do. Tell me a little bit about the technicalities of your company. What is it people can expect from Achilles Fitness? What is it you do on that daily basis with your athletes?
Yeah, so my whole thing is going to school for exercise science, strength and conditioning. I love the body of what our bodies are capable of, and that science is like insane of different like movement techniques, movement patterns, and
Hmm.
and this and that. And me being somebody who has dealt with so many injuries, I've like coming back from that, I've had to like learn how to properly move my body because I didn't do it properly. And so like I'm learning from that standpoint, which I'm glad that, I get to learn from that so then I can help people not do that. But man, my biggest thing that I want to do is to implement confidence in every athlete. Like I have my oldest athlete is 69 years old. And so like you're an athlete. If you move your body competently, you're an athlete.
What would you say would be your best piece of advice you could give young athletes coming up now in this new day and age we've been talking about?
Yeah. I think the number one thing is to figure out, kind of going back to what we talked about being finding your role, figuring out what role you play on the team. Um, because you have to know what you're being asked to do. And if you don't know what you're being asked to do, ask your coach. Like your coach's job is to put you in position to succeed. So if your coach is not doing that, or you're not communicating with him, then you're not going to know what to do. So how are you going to know what to work on?
Right.
So know what your role is on the team, and then do the best you can at that role. The second thing I would say is know what makes you uncomfortable.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was listening. I've listened to probably every Kobe Bryant interview and podcast, and there was one podcast that he was saying there's a lot of coaches, a lot of athletes rely too heavily on coaches to have all the answers, and which I was like that, where I relied on my coaches to tell me what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what do you want me to work on, but like they're not you. So
Yeah.
he said, you have to be able to know when you're playing the game, when you're in the game, what makes you uncomfortable when you're playing. And then you got to be able to take that to your coach and be like, hey, coach, like I'm feeling pretty comfortable, but I feel very uncomfortable when I get high ball pressure.
Yeah. Whatever it is for you.
Yeah, what can we do? Okay, let's work on our handles. Let's make sure that you're dribbling that thing like it's a yo-yo. And then let's practice those situations and those scenarios where maybe I got to pull in another athlete and maybe we're going to just practice double teams. And so going into like, then it's my job to, if I don't have the answer, I got to find the answer, or I got to send the kid to be able to find the answer. Like that's my job as a coach. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to try to find it. Right. Regardless of what you come to me with, I'm going to do my best to find what the answer would be. And so you got to know what makes you uncomfortable, and you got to be able to work on those things, which could also be your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And and then you got to know your strengths too. Like naturally, you got to know your strengths and your weaknesses. But I would say that knowing what makes you uncomfortable is the biggest thing, because then the more comfortable you are, the freer you play, and the freer you play, the better you play.
Yeah.
So those are the things that that I always try to, my first question to the athletes that I work with is, when you're playing, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever it is, what makes you uncomfortable when you're on the field?
Tell me a little bit about the inner huddle in
Mm.
Achilles Fitness. Tell me what that is.
Yeah, so the Inner Huddle, man, that's a program I was building for 7 months, and it's a program where I get a group of kids together, group of athletes together, about 6 kids,
Mm-hmm.
where we train all around athleticism. So based off what we're talking about right now, all around athleticism for 60 minutes. And then for 15 minutes after that, we sit down into a huddle, into a circle, and we talk. And it's a mentor session if it needs to, if I need to mentor. But it's an opportunity for young men to get into a circle and to be able to talk and be heard and feel seen and be able to discuss challenges that they're going through school, through life, through friends, through sports, whatever it may be, through like talk about goals that they want to achieve. But then also on top of that, man, it's an opportunity to just make sure these kids are like growing up with fellowship, with
Hmm.
brotherhood, with like people that are in their corner, with support, with love, and and man, also just the first huddle that we have, it's can you shake when you introduce yourself to somebody, can you shake my hand? And can you make eye contact? Can you maintain eye contact and can you talk with your chest? So that's the heart behind it of like, can I help these kids build confidence and competency physically in their bodies to be better athletes, but then also confidence and competency emotionally, mentally, uh, as a man,
Just walking around during the day.
on and off the field or court or whatever it is. And man, it's been awesome. Some awesome things have been happening.
How long you been doing it for?
We launched at the end of May.
Okay.
So June, July, August, September, about 4 months now. And it's awesome, man. It's been so much fun and just so rewarding. And it's cool too, because man, I learned so much. Also, kids are so smart.
Yeah,
If you
they're sponges too.
they are like if you give them the opportunity to really just sit and talk in like in a safe setting, man, these kids are so smart. But there's so many distractions out there that that influence thoughts and the way that they navigate life. And uh like I started noticing with a lot of my older like teenage athletes in like private sessions, like one-on-one,
Yeah.
where I noticed like something's going on in them emotionally that's like holding them back. And then it would get to a point where I would like gently stop the session and be like, hey man, are you okay? Kind of like how Sal did for me, like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be like, yeah, coach, I'm good, I'm good.
And then you're gonna ask one more time like Sal did.
Yeah, are you okay? And with a little head tilt. And then, man, like these kids, man, like they are battling so much.
But the fact that you're giving them that opportunity to talk to somebody who isn't their parents,
Mm.
who isn't another kid that's going to make fun of them is massive and huge. And I think we've all had those coaches, whether it's people like Sal or your other coaches in college, in high school, that when they give you the opportunity to do that, it stays with you clearly. And it gives you the confidence to chase your dreams, to do things, and then eventually give someone else to be giving kids in this day and age the opportunity to do that is a really important thing. And especially, and not just kids, athletes of all ages,
Yeah.
you know, that's really important.
I feel so much like purpose right now of instilling confidence in the youth and helping this next generation to where, man, like I could do this for the rest of my life and never do anything else. And obviously I don't know what my life has in store, but I I I enjoy it and I love it. And with entertainment, it was always that battle of you work for a day and then you don't work for 280 days. And it's it's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
just it's hard. And however, I will say like it has eased me into feeling freer to audition because now I don't look at the industry as I need it. Like I need this job. Please book me for this role
Right.
so I could be okay for a couple months.
Oh, you're so going to book a movie and it's going to fucking be so funny. But the moment we put this out into the world, if I don't even care, bro.
I know, I know.
Cast as the next Batman. No name star, James Achille. No, but it's great. All right, my favorite question to ask whenever I have anyone who's ever touched the entertainment industry on the show. Give me your worst audition story.
All right, so living in New York,
Okay.
I'm like maybe a year into acting, and I get my biggest audition is for a Disney show.
Ooh.
And I was
Which show?
I can't remember. Probably better for that I don't remember, but I can't.
Who's the showrunner's name? No.
Yeah, it was the casting director.
Yeah.
It was for some Disney show.
Okay.
And I was so excited. I was so excited and very nervous. So I had like, like 2 pages of lines that I memorized and like had it all, everything down. And the role, I can't remember what the role was, but I remember I looked, I don't know why I dressed the way I dressed, but I dressed like I was like a 60-year-old man. I'm like 22. I was wearing brown corduroy pants with a brown corduroy vest and a jacket, dude. It
And the
was like
character's like 18.
probably like it was so like just that alone was embarrassing because the character they wanted him to be like dated a little bit.
Sure.
So that was like where my head went. I got this thing from um Salvation Army and
What's up, Riz Masters?
man, it was so bad. And so I get to the audition room and I look like a fool. I
Mhm.
immediately look at all these other guys that are auditioning and I'm like, dang, like what was I thinking? I started getting so insecure. I was like, I look like an idiot. And so I get called into the audition room and man, these casting directors, they were so kind. They looked at me like I was like this young little puppy. And so, anyways, I get in. I am shivering,
Oh,
shaking.
man.
I was so nervous because
This is like first year, right?
first year.
Yeah.
I also like know I look like an idiot. I don't look like I'm supposed to look. We're gonna slate, and I like I had to slate a couple times because they couldn't get clear audio because I was like my voice was shaking.
Oh, man.
And uh so we get to start doing the audition and I get one sentence in and my entire brain shuts off. And that's never happened to me ever and even like since, but I completely shut off. Like I stood there and I didn't say a word and they looked at me like I got so much pity and they're
Oh,
like,
man.
"It's okay. It's okay. We'll start again. We'll start again." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay." And so we get ready to start again and this time I get 2 lines in, shut off, lose everything. And they're like, it's okay. It's okay. You could read from the script here. They hand me the script. And now I just feel like an idiot.
Yeah, that's,
And
oh, man.
so they give me the script and they're like, all right, let's start when you're ready, when you're ready. And they were again just so gentle, so kind. And I start reading and
The paper was shaking in
paper
your
was
hands.
shaking and my voice is like and I was like, can I just go?
Did you say
I
that?
left
Oh, my
and I walked by, I put my tail between my legs and I was like, I'm out. I can't do this. It was so bad. That was like my worst.
Can I go?
I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I think I apologize for wasting their time. And
Oh, my
it was,
God.
it was bad. It was bad. Yeah, that's
The positive side is your worst audition story is probably the casting director's worst, too.
or their best.
James, dude, thank you so much for letting me have you on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I love you. You're my brother. It means a lot. Folks, anyone out there interested in getting more in touch with themselves physically, but also mentally, go check out Coach Achille on Instagram. Find all of his information of Achilles Fitness there, and feel free to reach out, DM, email him with any information that you're looking for.
Yeah.
James, thanks so much for being here, man. I love you.
Man, appreciate you, man. Love you too.